Good afternoon, everybody. So you'll see from what I've outlined, I've talked about stewardship, I've talked about environmental justice, and for the National Council of Churches and also for NRPE and some of the other faith communities, whether they define it this way or not, the way they're building their programs and their environmental initiatives is hopefully and basically a traditional EE model. So it's an EE model within the faith context. And for those of you that are familiar with it, it's awareness and then building upon awareness, knowledge, and then developing the values for that particular issue, providing folks with the action skills that they need and the action opportunities. And so you'll see the faith community has done the same thing. They just might not call it that. The third piece in there, the values piece, is something that the faith community, it's very unique to the faith community. They have the language to talk about values in a way that the secular community doesn't really have, because the faith community, that's what they do. They talk about values, they talk about faith. So the faith community has a strong foundation in that third step for the environmental education. I'm going to give you some examples of some of the activities that the faith community does, and I'm talking about across the board: Jewish community, Catholic community, evangelical community, other faith communities, Protestant, Orthodox. This is a picture taken from a young adult training with the Chesapeake Bay Foundation to help young adults who wanted to engage in ministry, and however they defined it, learn more about how to do creation care, learn more about environmental sustainability, and they did it on the Chesapeake Bay. They went to this retreat center, and they did hands-on activities, and then they coupled that with theology, and then talking through how can they do environmental education in the context of their ministry. So that was young adults. The church, if anybody has been to church lately or to a synagogue lately, or another faith community, typically the folks tend to be older. So we also, within the faith community, try to provide education and training events for those folks. This is a training event that was done in Annapolis, Maryland. The person that you see speaking, Dr. Matt Baker, is a scientist, and he was providing those folks, those activists, because most of them were activists in their communities within their faith context, providing them background information, and then we had another speaker come in and do the sort of faith connections for them so that they could see how these two things relate. And then the thing I can't really take pictures of because it's not very exciting, but the other thing that the faith community has done over the last 10, 20 plus years is a lot of media outreach, getting the faith voice out there on environmental issues, doing educational resources for folks in the pews, whether it's synagogues or Protestant churches or Catholic churches, making sure that the faith voice and the faith message and education on environmental issues and environmental problems is done within those communities.